Hello everyone, warm welcome to Testbook Super Coaching. My name is Madhav. I welcome you all in the next session on RBI Grade B Phase 2 practice batch. So today we are going to discuss many new questions based on the finance which can be asked in your upcoming examination. And if you're preparing for upcoming 2024 RBI Grade B Phase 2 examination, then this session is a must attend session for everyone. If you want to download the PDF of this session, it will be available on my Telegram channel. You can download it from the Telegram channel itself. I have the QR code for you. The handle name is @Madhav and the name of the Telegram channel is Economics by Madhav Arora. So let's get started without any further delay. Let's start with the first question of the evening, and the first question is now on your screen. The question is very important and I'm pretty sure you are going to enjoy the discussion which we are going to make. But before we start the discussion, I would request you quickly copy the link of this session, share it with your friends so that more and more students, they are aware that yes, the class is live and they can join us and they can prepare really very well for the upcoming examination. Let's begin the discussion. Just give me yes sir in the comment section so that we can start the discussion with the first question. And the first question is right now on your screen. The question says, let's try to understand the question first. The question says, though privatization and disinvestment are the terms that are used interchangeably, there is a difference between them with regard to what? Are you understanding this term? One, we have a term that is privatization and the other term is disinvestment. Many times we use these two terms at the same position, but they are technically different. But in what context they are different? That is the question which has been asked. So give me the answer, whether it is different in regard to the ownership or quantum of disinvestment done, legal complexities or administrative issues. What will be your answer? Whenever we use a word disinvestment and the other word we have is that is privatization, how these two terms they are different. So these two terms they are different in terms of ownership. When you are disinvesting means a government is selling the shares of its own company but maintaining more than 51% shareholding with them. That is basically termed as disinvestment. But government when sell out its majority stake as well as government is transferring the ownership, we call it as strategic disinvestment. And if government sell out all its 100% shares and the company is no more owned by government, that will be termed as privatization. So on that particular context, these two are different in terms of what? They are different in terms of ownership. Moving on to the next question. The next question says, which of the following statement is incorrect? Remember that. Which of the following statement is incorrect regarding approach towards strategic disinvestment under the current disinvestment policy? So we have how many options there? We have three options to choose. First one, disinvestment is to be undertaken through consultation process among different ministries, departments, including Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog is to identify CPSC, that is Central Public Sector Enterprises, for strategic disinvestment and advise on the sale related matters. Third is the core group of secretaries on disinvestment will consider the recommendation of Niti Aayog to facilitate a decision by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs on strategic disinvestment. So how many? Three options you have. Out of these three options, which term or option is incorrect with respect to the current strategic disinvestment policy in the country? See, the first option, that is disinvestment, is to be undertaken through consultation process among the ministries. Is it correct? So that term is absolutely correct. Niti Aayog will identify, that is correct. Core group of secretaries on disinvestment will consider recommendation given by Niti Aayog. That is also correct. So all these statements are correct. So which statement is incorrect? None of them. So answer is going to be D option. So you need to remember this point very carefully, that disinvestment is a very important aspect of the country, and in today's scenario, major chunk of non-debt capital receipts government is receiving through disinvestment itself. Moving on to the next point. The next question is again related to disinvestment. It says disinvestment proceeds are credited to the existing National Investment Fund, which is a dash under the government account. So National Investment Fund is the fund in which the amount collected by the government through disinvestment is going to be credited. For example, if government has sold, let's say 10,000 crore rupees of shares in Coal India Limited, that 10,000 crore rupees is going to be credited in which of the government account, whether it will be credited in the government's public account, a type of account where government is liable and government needs to pay back the return to the public, which include public funds, which include the provident funds and many other. Then we have current account, capital account and consolidated account. Remember that whenever we talk about the government's credit as well as the government debit for its day-to-day operations, it is done through the Consolidated Fund of India. And similarly, this investment amount which is going to be credited, will it be credited in the Consolidated Fund of India? Don't misjudge it with the Consolidated Fund of India. Remember that the credit is done in the public account. So this is really very important. You need to identify this point, that the disinvestment done by the government, where government is raising the funds and those funds basically belongs to the public, and that amount is going to be utilized for n number of government expenditure heads, majorly in developing the company itself in which the disinvestment is done. So it will be credited not under consolidated fund, rather it will be credited in the public account fund of India. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following statement is incorrect regarding government budgeting and disinvestment? Disinvestment receipts are disclosed in the union budget as a part of miscellaneous capital receipts. Okay. Government has constituted a national investment fund into which the proceeds from disinvestment of government equity in the selected CPSE is channelized. That is true. We have just read about it. The fund so credited to NIF will be withdrawn and used for financing expenditure on infrastructure project, health sectors, education sector and investment in Indian Railways, or none of the above. So out of three, first and second are correct. Yes or no? First and second are correct. What is your take on this? But we have a confusion in the third point, whether it is correct or incorrect. So please identify the answer. The answer to this particular question is, sir, all these statements are correct. The only incorrect statement is none of the above. So these are the three statements. When government announced disinvestment, it is disclosed in the budget. That is true. Second is, government has constituted National Investment Fund. That is true. Funds so credited in NIF will be withdrawn and it will be utilized by the government to make the expenditure on different sectors along with the expenditure on the given company as well. So answer is going to be all the statements are correct. Next, which of the following methods is or are used by the government for disinvestment of minority stakes in CPSE? When we say minority stake basically means government is not selling majority stakes. That means government is not going to sell 50% of its stakes. Government is selling less than 50% stake and government is still maintaining 51% of its stake, and government will be the owner of that company. Government will hold the management in its hands, but the question is how they are going to raise the funds, whether they will be raising the funds through IPO, that is initial public offering, or they can go for offer for sale, or they can go for institutional placement program. See, IPO means government is issuing the shares openly to the public. That is known as IPO, which has been done by government in many companies over the period of time, which we have heard. Now the question is, out of these three, which method government will prefer? My answer would be, so government can prefer any method depending upon their requirement as well as their maths. If their maths fits in IPO, if they are in a situation to launch IPO and they are capable enough to bear the expenditure on IPO and they can issue the shares openly to the public, that is allowed. They can go for offer for sale, that is allowed. They can even directly tie up with the I would say qualified buyer, and the qualified buyer can buy the stakes directly without going public. All these three methods are allowed. Moving on to the next point. The next question is, which of the following index has been launched? Very important. Which of the following index has been launched by Asia Index Private Limited to track the performance of state-run companies which the central government has divested its stakes. Check out the question clearly. Question says, which of the following index has been launched by the Asia Index Private Limited? By the Asia Index Private Limited. So the question is Asia Index Private Limited. Asia Index Private Limited has set up a performance, has set up an index, has set up an index to check the performance of companies in which disinvestment is done. May I have the answer, please? May I have the answer, please? So the answer to this particular question is, so the index which measures the performance of 22 companies in which government has announced disinvestment, that index is known as BSE Bharat 22 Index, which has been set up under the term that is S&P. So Standards and Poor Bombay Stock Exchange Bharat 22 Index has been set up, which basically checks the performance of all those 22 companies in which government has announced disinvestment in the past. Is it clear? Okay. Moving on to the next question. The next question says, the tax structure in India is dash tier federal structure. What do you understand by the federal structure? It means the tax in India is applied at how many levels? We have government on 3 levels. We have central government, that is union government, we have state government, and we have local area government, that is municipalities. So taxes are charged by union government, we call them as union tax. Taxes are charged by state government, we call them as state tax. Even the taxes are charged by the local area governments, we call them as local government tax. So in India we have 3-tier taxation system. So the answer will be B option, that is 3-tier federal taxation system is being implemented in India, where the taxes are charged by all the 3 levels of the government: central government, state government, as well as the local area government. Got it? Clear, guys? Fine. Chalo. Moving on to the next point. Now you must be wondering, sir, could you please give me the example? Yes, I can give you the examples as well. We have income tax charged by central government. We have SGST, or rather than saying SGST, we have many other state government tax like vehicle registration tax. Then we have the local area government tax like property tax and all, which is charged by the local government, that is the municipalities. So we have 3 types of taxation structure in the country. Got it? Moving on to the next question. The next question says, which of the following committees or the task forces are associated with the journey of GST in India? So GST in India was introduced, or it was, I would say, implemented from 1st July 2017. But that doesn't mean that GST was introduced in India in 2016 or 15. No, it was introduced quite early during the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government, and specifically it was introduced by the recommendation was given by the West Bengal finance minister, and the committee was Asim Das Gupta committee. Then we have a Vijay Kelkar committee on GST, that is true. Then we have empowered committee of state finance minister, that is also true. So all these 3 committees are associated with the same, that is GST and its implementation in the country. So Vijay Kelkar committee, yes sir, first introduction was given by Asim Das Gupta. Obviously they have not used the term GST. They were trying to say that there should be one tax rather than n number of indirect taxes. That was Asim Das Gupta committee recommendation. And then we have the state finance minister empowered committee, which was responsible to look into the proposal of GST and how it can be implemented in the states over the period of time. So all these three committees were set up in the past. Moving to the next question. The next question says, which of the following is the chairman of GST Council? Remember that. So GST Council is set up by President of India under 279. This is the article 279 under which GST Council has been set up. We all know that it was 122nd Constitutional Amendment Bill. It was 101st Constitution Amendment which led to the introduction of GST Act, and it was implemented since 1st of July 2017. But who is the president? Who is the chairman? President of India is the chairman of GST Council? No, sir. Union Finance Minister. Better would be if they must have mentioned this. Union Finance Minister is the chairman of GST Council. If someone asks me, who all are the members of GST Council? So Union Finance Minister plus Union Minister of State Finance, Union Minister of State of Finance plus state I would say plus states nominated ministers. Now state will nominate a minister, and generally state will nominate their finance minister as a member. Distribution of voting is done. 1/3 voting is given to the center and 2/3 voting is collectively given to all the state nominated ministers, and this becomes the entire membership of GST Council, and the chairman of the GST Council is Union Finance Minister. Recently 54th meeting of GST Council was conducted recently, and their recommendations were given in my previous session, which was held on the same platform at 6 p.m. I have discussed with you the 54th GST Council meeting, where I have discussed all its up and downs, what all recommendations were done, what all changes are recommended under this council meeting has been discussed in the previous session by the name the Finance Current Affairs. You can check it after this session. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following state levies has been subsumed under GST? So the taxes which were earlier charged by state government, now they have been included under GST. But the question is, out of these given list of taxes, which all taxes have been included, have been subsumed under GST? Then my answer is the first one. Value added tax and sale tax has been subsumed? Yes, sir. Luxury tax has been subsumed? Yes, sir. Taxes on lottery, betting and gambling has been subsumed? Yes, sir. So the answer is it falls under the slab of 28%. One more thing. The answer to this particular question is D option. That is correct. Second point which I would like to discuss over here is recently GST invasion data has been given. What is invasion? Invasion is basically when we try to avoid paying taxes. For example, I am a businessman and I have gone through with the GST rules. I have gone through with the GST rules in much detail, and I have found out certain loopholes which I can utilize, and with the help of those loopholes I am trying to avoid the payment of tax. So GST evasion, or I would say for that matter not only GST evasion, but in that matter I would say in all the taxes which are charged in an economy, we witness evasion, which we call in Hindi as tax ki chori. So evasion is a very common term related to tax. In case of GST, highest evasion has been witnessed. Highest evasion has been witnessed in which sector? Remember one point, sir, highest evasion has been witnessed in online gaming. So online gaming industry, which is responsible to pay taxes, but they have invaded or they have taken n number of steps to avoid pay GST. And on the second rank in terms of GST invasion is your BFSI sector as per the latest report. So according to the latest report, highest GST evasion has been done in which industry? So it has been done under the online gaming industry, and second highest has been done under BFSI, which stands for banking and financial services and insurance sector. After that, we have many other sectors. That is not important. But if the question is asked, simple question in the examination, highest GST evasion has been recorded in India in which sector, then your answer will be the act of avoiding payment of GST. Highest act of avoiding payment of GST has been recorded in which industry, then your answer will be online gaming industry. Second highest has been witnessed in case of banking and financial services and insurance sector. Moving on to the next point. The next question is, for a valid meeting of members of GST Council, at least how many total number of members should be present at the meeting? So let's suppose we have Union Finance Minister, then we have Union Minister of State of Finance, and one member or one minister nominated by the state governments. The question is, if you want to run a GST Council meeting, how many % of members should be present in the meeting? Then only that meeting can be conducted or it can be officially considered as a meeting. Then the answer is, sir, we need the presence of at least 50% of the total members. If out of the total members, 50% members are present, that means yes, the meeting is an official meeting and the recommendations will be considered as per the recommendations given by GST Council. As per the recommendation given by GST Council. Moving on to the next point. Which of the following benefits would acquire to the government by introduction of GST? That means question is, GST के आने से government को क्या-क्या benefits हुए? What are the benefits which have been witnessed by the government after the introduction of GST? First option is, GST is simple and easy to administer. That is true. Unlike n number of taxes which were charged earlier, like excise duty, like we had service tax, we had central sales tax, on state level we have luxury tax, we have value added tax, we have sales tax. Now all have been subsumed under GST, which is easy and simple to administer. Now if you have less number of inlet points, then obviously leakage will be less. Earlier there were n number of taxes, the probability of leakage was pretty high and it was easier, but now due to GST the leakage has been decreased. Still there is a leakage, as I just discussed that the highest evasion has been recorded in the online gaming industry, but yes, after GST the leakage has decreased, so that is again a benefit. Higher revenue efficiency, obviously earlier we had different departments for different taxes. Now we have only one department for one type of tax, that is GST. So all the three are the benefits of GST to the government. The efficiency of GST collection has increased over the period of time by the government due to the introduction of GST. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear? So these were some of the important MCQs related to your finance sector. If you are not clear with the theory, you want to learn more about GST, how it was introduced, when it was introduced, what are the slabs and many other finance topics, then we have a free batch that we call it as a crash course, which is available on our Testbook platform, where I will be conducting live session today at 10 p.m. And 10 p.m. today we will be discussing the structure and functions of RBI. Not only the discussion of the topics, I will be discussing with you the expected descriptive questions from the topic which I will be discussing, and I will be giving you the concise and appropriate content in these sessions. With the help of those content, you can prepare really very well for your upcoming examination. Clear, guys? So do not forget to join with me today at 10 p.m. on Testbook application. If you're preparing for 2025, do not forget to enroll in our Lakshya batch. Use code MADHAV to enjoy maximum discount on this batch to assure your selection for 2025 RBI Grade B examination. You can download the PDF on this Telegram channel link, and I'll catch you again today at 10 p.m. on Testbook application. Thank you so much. Good luck. God bless you all. Bye bye.